The McPhersons prided themselves on their immaculate suburban home, especially during the holidays. Each December, their lawn became a glowing spectacle of oversized reindeer, a jolly inflatable Santa, and twinkling string lights snaking up the trees. This year they added a newcomer, a life-sized Nutcracker soldier placed rigidly by the driveway, tall and finely detailed, with glassy eyes that seemed to follow passers-by. Sarah McPherson admired it from the bay window while sipping coffee. She loved these ornaments, loved the way they made the house hum with festivity. Yet, as she stared out that night, the lawn looked askew. She squinted and then laughed nervously. Surely the Nutcracker hadn't been posed an inch closer to the sidewalk since morning. It had to be a trick of the shadows, she thought. Could heavy winds have shifted it slightly? She shook it off, reminding herself that her husband, Greg, had secured it tightly with stakes before heading on a business trip to Chicago. By Friday, the unease had settled into her chest like a thick fog. Sarah stood barefoot by the front window, her breath misting the glass. The towering Nutcracker was definitely not where it had been. She couldn't pinpoint when she noticed, but it felt like every glance showed it closer to the house. She hadn't touched it. She was sure of that. Yet there it stood, now on the border of their flower beds, tilted ever so slightly forward, like it was mid-step. That evening she watched from under her duvet as the eerie glow of the lights illuminated its figure. How had she never noticed how sinister those painted eyes looked? Her mind toyed with explanations. A prank, maybe. Neighborhood kids must be sneaking into her yard. But as the hours passed and she drifted into an uneasy sleep, a distant scrape outside woke her. Her heart thundered as she listened, feet rooted to the floorboards. Not daring to look out, she clung to the thought that it was only the wind. By Saturday morning, a fresh layer of snow veiled the lawn, its surface pristine, except for something that made her stomach lurch. Deep impressions in the snow marred the perfect white sheet, beginning from the sidewalk and leading straight to her doorstep. Two distinct sets of prints. One belonged to a person, large and deliberate. The other, smaller round outlines with a hint of a groove, matched the base of the Nutcracker. Sarah's throat tightened as she craned her neck to check the yard. Frozen at the base of the porch steps, the Nutcracker loomed taller than she remembered, almost brushing the bottom of her wreath-lined doors. She didn't call anyone. She didn't share the sight on social media. That would require admitting she might be losing her grip. Instead, she spent the day indoors, refusing to so much as glance outside. By nightfall, her nerves shattered at every creak the house made. Around midnight, in a fleeting moment of foolish courage, she grabbed her coat and jerked open the front door, ready to confront something. The driveway was empty. The Nutcracker was gone. She screamed, first in relief, then in rising terror as her eyes adjusted to the shadows just beyond the reach of the porch light. It hadn't been taken. It had moved again. It now stood near the fence, separating her yard from the neighbors. Its position had changed entirely. One arm half raised, the jaw slack, as though mid-command. She retreated inside, deadbolting the door, but its silhouette burned into her vision. Was it looking back? She told herself to go upstairs, to hide under the covers, but her legs seemed fused to the dusty welcome mat. When the first knock shook the door, soft, measured, she flinched so violently her teeth nearly bit her lip to the bone. Then came 3 more knocks, heavier this time. She stumbled back down the hallway and into the kitchen. A cold breeze snaked up her neck. She froze, suddenly realizing she'd left the side door unlocked earlier that day. Her breath hitched as her eyes snagged on the doorway leading to her basement. At the foot of the stairs, a shadow stood motionlessly, its glassy-eyed face reflecting the faint string lights from the outside lawn.